Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So this time a bit different champion showcase, and the story about this champion showcase in itself is also a bit more interesting because, as many of you know, I do have a rank 4 Thor Ragnarok of my own that I have yet to upload gameplay from. However, these rank 4 champion showcases seem to become a bit of a thing in community, and a lot of people are very eager to have their champions and their accounts, their profiles showcased. And sometimes it's just hard to refuse a champion, especially if the video has yet to be uploaded. So for this time, I will delay and postpone my own gameplay video with the rank 4 Thor Ragnarok, and we're going to be checking out what Sarat can do with the Thor Ragnarok. Not to mention, it's probably for the best, because he does absolutely love his Thor Ragnarok, unlike me, which is kind of like a calculated marriage with that Thor. And we're gonna go in and we're gonna check out how does this Thor Ragnarok do. I have a lot of gameplay. I'm not sure if I will be able to showcase all of it in one video. Perhaps I will do a part 2 for this one as well, but we'll see how we get on, because I do have more than 10 clips here and then some screenshots and stuff to show as well. So that is quite a lot of gameplay. Obviously, as a lot of you know about Thor Ragnarok, the key thing is to basically get to that level 3. Before you get to level 3, Thor Ragnarok is exceedingly unremarkable champion. There is not much going on. He can, now thanks to a few synergies, actually set up before you get to level 3, because he does have a very interesting synergy, I believe, with Guardian that allows you to shock on heavy attacks, and then that has a chance of letting you have an armor up, and then you can kind of get started without level 3, which is something that I do want to showcase in a separate video. But at large, typically when you're going to be using Thor Ragnarok, you kind of want to get to that level 3, and then all the good stuff starts. Then you can start armor break, then you can start inflicting shocks, and then you do a lot of burst damage every time you stun the opponent. We can see there easily, bursting for like 28k. Sometimes you burst for more than 28k, and it does indeed do a lot of damage. In fact, this entire thing is going to be over in like 35 hits after the level 3. So once you get level 3, again, just to kind of delay here, he takes him down to what, 88%, 86, 85% before the level 3 goes active. So after the level 3, he finishes at 44 hits, and then the entire fight is over another like 30 hits later. So it certainly does have like a huge burst of damage after that level 3, which, is kind of like the calling card of this version of Thor. Some people like it, some people not so much, but you can absolutely stun lock opponents with certain setup using that. And here is the fight against Captain Marvel as well, which is going to be basically exactly the same scenario, where you hardly do any damage up until the middle of the clip, until that level 3 gets thrown. After the level 3, we can see that that Captain Marvel is at like, what, 82%. She's going to be at 78%. And then she goes from 78 to 75 to, to basically melting away. That is going to be the MO of Thor Ragnarok in vast majority of the fights. But in the process, he pretty much does eliminate opponents' ability accuracy. He pretty much stun locks them. And there are definitely plenty of places where that can come in play, where that can be useful. So let's jump on to clip number 4. And this is already different. This is in Act 7, I believe 7.1. Yondu, super masochism boss with Rich Get Richer and Foresight, feats of power. So let's see how he gets on with the fight right here, right now. And again, the initial bit of it is gonna, not seem too crazy, but once the action starts, the action pretty much doesn't stop until the fight is over. And now again, I know that Thor Ragnarok is a champion that some, people have hit or miss kind of feelings about. But thanks to Karina Challenges Volume 2, we all pretty much revisited our Thor Ragnaroks for that Grandmaster battle. And, I'll be 100% honest, it did kind of like, once again, force me to play with a champion I typically normally wouldn't have, maybe. And, once he gets going, he really, really does get going. And obviously for a lot of people, Thor Ragnarok, however, is and will remain a prestige rank up, and there's just no way around that. Right, so here we can see that he is working very diligently to get to that level 3. And once that is going to be the case, once that's going to happen, right here, right now, basically, he ideally wants to get in an intercept before that, and not have Yondu have too much power, because if he does get an intercept, he will, well, he's going without it, but if he had an intercept, he would have 200% attack increase off on that special 3. Now here is one kind of meta commentary I really wish he would have done. I really wish he would have used the special 3 skip, but he doesn't have the beta features enabled there. And now at this point we can see that Super Masochism is getting basically absolutely bypassed, and the entire fight there is just stun locked to the death. So once you do get to that level 3, you don't do anything else really. You just stun lock the opponent, you let the power gain fill you up, and you have consistently 4, 5 armor breaks, 5, 6 shocks active, and that is one dead Yondu boss. And the entire fight, including the level 3, lasts like 2 minutes. It'll be under 2 minutes if he had skipped the level 3. Let's move on to the next one. So this is X23 against the debuff synthesis, bleed, energy adoption, lightning. So one more thing that they did change up on Thor Ragnarok, that they reduced the shock effect duration on Thor Ragnarok by 90%. So for most part, he can deal with shocks quite well. I would have personally preferred if they just gave him 100% damage resistance against shock debuffs, but 90% reduced duration obviously still functions quite well as long as the shocks aren't like overly potent. As we can see here, you do lose a bit of health, but it is definitely manageable for for likely at least a handful of fights, and that certainly can be, again, another kind of like feather in the hat of Thor Ragnarok, where he is a potential option should he be the champion that you choose to use. So here he does trigger his power gain, and that's going to take him all the way up to level 3. And he goes for his level 3, and again, as soon as that level 3 drops, vast majority of the fights among the contest are pretty much sealed and done and decided, thanks largely to the burst damage and everything else that Thor Ragnarok offers there. Burst damage, stun lock, shock damage, and armor breaks, and everything else. So you can see that X23 at this point is absolutely melting like, nobody's business. That regeneration also doesn't seem all that impressive, even though it is worth noting that on this node, shock itself doesn't do any damage, so you are kind of missing out on that. But the burst damage that you generate with Thor Ragnarok obviously still does go through. So energy lightning adoption prevents opponents from taking shock damage, which can at times be frustrating. And that regen is quite potent as well once you do trigger it. Now we're going to have Special Burst, Lockdown, Rise to Power, Cosmic Ghost Rider boss. You can see that this guy is 614k HP, so he is tankier than your standard Realm of Legends opponents, not to mention obviously much more complex because he does have his level 3 active and he will get that power gain and everything else. And let's see how he gets along. It's always, fascinating to compare the player experiences that we are having among the contest, because I have done every single one of the fights that will be showcased in today's video, but I don't think I used Thor for pretty much any of them. But that is a personal preference kind of decision, and that is always kind of important to be remembered, that there are way more options available for a lot of fights that it might initially kind of be obvious. And in many cases, some of the champions that you do not necessarily think of using for some of these fights are perhaps even more efficient than the obvious choices that everybody immediately goes to, be that like Magneto, be that Archangel, or whatever. And I have a feeling that that is going to be a case quite often with Thor Ragnarok, where, most of the fights in Act 7 and everywhere else are largely decided as soon as you get to that level 3. And here we're going to be, he is at level 3, he is taking some Liquid Courage double edge damage due to being heal blocked here. But as soon as he's going to activate that, all hell is going to break loose, because as soon as he's going to use his level 3, he's going to be past 40 hits. So that should give him the power gain that will immediately start filling his bars of power. And with that, he should be able to stun lock the opponent. So you do not necessarily even need synergies or anything else to set this up, because in this case we can see that Proxima synergy was not involved, And that Cosmic Ghost Rider is just absolutely nuked down without the involvement of the Proxima Synergy or the rest of them that people typically, think that are borderline mandatory. That is one of the biggest upsides that Kabam did with this specific buff on Thor Ragnarok that I have genuinely been critical of. But if there is a huge upside on this buff, that is the fact that you do not rely on having a full synergy team dedicated to Thor Ragnarok, nowhere near as much as you used to. Now, in this fight, I do believe that I remember this boss. I do remember this boss. So you do need to get past 15 hits on your combo meter in order to start doing damage. And then obviously this Thor does have death touch specials. So if he does touch you with specials, you're immediately dead or shortly after. And on top of that, he uses half of the power for every single special attack instead. And this is going to be, again, one of those less than ideal situations. Unfortunately, he does mess up here. Ooh, interesting. But this is going to be an interesting finish now. He just made it interesting because I assume as soon as he gets level 3, the fight's over, even though Thor Ragnarok is going to have significantly reduced, shock duration. And with that, he should be not able to capitalize as much. But here, he sneaks in that stun. And the fact that those stuns can trigger through block is evidently saving him. Man, if he pulls this off, this is going to be such a clutch win. This is going to be such a clutch win that I'm absolutely going to love it. Because he does have his God mode active, he has his power gain active, he's spamming his level 1s. Obviously, unfortunately, he can't access his full damage output with the stuns because the shocks are pretty much purified almost instantly. As per Thor Ragnarok reduced shock duration, 90%. But he's putting in work here, without a doubt. He's going to town. And will he? Won't he? He's at like 23% health there. Will he have enough power to keep this going? Will he have enough power to keep this going? Man, this is kind of fun because of that unexpected twist. Man, I'm genuinely enjoying this commentary. I'm very curious whether he will be able to squeeze this finish in, even though, the mishap just before level 3 pretty much would have ruined any and all chances I would have personally given. So close, man. It's so close, and he's going in it. Oh man, he squeezed it out. That was awesome. I love this one. I love this clip. So we're going to go up to clip number 8 here. So this is going to be against Sabretooth boss with Oscillate and Whatnot active. I believe this is the 6.11 boss. Most likely. But I also do remember that Sabretooth both being exceedingly annoying with Oscillate, with No Retreat, if I'm not mistaken, where you cannot dash back twice. And obviously when Oscillate is active, you're going to be taking tons of damage. And then if you do not mitigate his healing in any meaningful fashion, then, his healing is getting crazy throughout the fight. So this genuinely was one of the more annoying 6.1 bosses, even though he is on like 6.11. This is the first boss you see in Act 6, and it's not the easiest, I'll tell you that much. It's not the easiest boss to deal with. And now he needs to wait out that Oscillate, which he confidently does, and now that Oscillate's about to go into aggressive phase, so he goes for his level 2, to place an armor break, and that also triggered the power gain, so he's going to be able to go for his level 3 straight after parry. That's another one really useful and cool thing often to do. You do want to drop your level 3 as you just parry the opponent, which means that you will be able to dash in and attack the opponent safely straight after your level 3, thanks to that parry standstill, remaining still throughout the special 3 animation. And here at this point, he just starts stun locking that Sabretooth, and obviously thanks to Despair as well, it seems that that regen is not really an issue or a problem. And as rest of the fights in this clip, as soon as you get level 3, the fight is done and dusted. Right, let's move on to the next one. Actually, haven't seen these ones either, so we have clip number 9. We have been going for a solid time. Oh, this is a Labyrinth of Legends fight. Alright then, let's see how he does against Labyrinth of Legends Red Hulk. Obviously, here the biggest problem for Thor Ragnarok is that Limber is active. And Limber is frustrating thing to deal with for Thor, because once you get going, you're going to be stunning opponent left, right, and center. That means after your first and initial cycle, you're basically going to have no stun duration and no ability to parry to find openings, which I personally find quite frustrating. But you still will be able to access, majority of your damage. And for that burst damage, the most important thing is that the stun triggers in the first place. As long as the stun does trigger, no matter how long or short it is, you will indeed, do those significant damage bursts that Thor has every time he stuns opponent, if opponent is shocked and or armor broken, something like that. Do not remember exactly the wording of that ability. But let's see. So he's 43 hits in. Red Hulk is at like 90-some% health. That's fair enough. Have a couple of armor breaks, a couple of shocks going on. And this entire fight, I have a feeling, is going to be pretty much just him baiting out the special attacks. It's going to be just him pretty much baiting out the special attacks there. And as long as Red Hulk doesn't go super stingy, it should be quite fine. Shouldn't be too much of an issue. So he's at 74 combo. So he's probably going to want to drop that level 3 just before 90 combo if it triggers on 30. Yeah, so you're going to want to drop that level 3 just before 90 combo. So as soon as level 3 ends, the power gain does get triggered. So ideally, come on, bait out that level 1. That would be the perfect play. Sweet. Couple of hits, drop level 3. And as soon as he's going to exit from the level 3 animation, he'll be able to do all the damage in the world. I overestimated the length of that animation, but here we are. So he's back up to level 3 all the way there. And the Red Hulk's definitely going down. The Red Hulk's definitely going down. I do want to see the finish of this fight towards the end. What is going to be the final score here? Come on, last 26%. He did end up eating a few hits, evidently, throughout the fight. And that stun at this point is virtually non-existent, as you can see. However, Thor does have somewhat decent damage on his basic attacks at this point, thanks to the champion synergy, I'm guessing, because he was critting for like 17k towards the end. Right, I think that is it as much as I'm going to squeeze in this video. I do not want to... Whoops, that's wrong clip. I do not want to stretch this video out too long. There are a few clips that he wanted to showcase here where Thor Ragnarok does a 90k burst damage and 36k damage on that. Then carrying on further, just to showcase that Thor Ragnarok is at 173. Here against CMM, that's 30k burst there, sweet. His mastery setup that he's using with 2 points in Liquid Courage. He has yet to unlock the third one, sorry, in Double Edge. What else do we see here? That's a sweet 82k burst damage screenshot there, not too bad. That's his profile. What else do we see here? 189 kits, I assume that's against Red Hulk. What else do we have here? That's 125k burst damage that we didn't quite catch in the clip. And this was, sorry, wrong clip. There we go. That is as much as this video is going to go for. Now, if you guys want to see more Thor Ragnarok gameplay, then do let me know about that. Hit those like buttons, hit all the amazing cool buttons. And yeah, I shall catch you guys later. See ya. Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about